What's up, YouTube? You know me. Well, while I was away, I've been doing some thinking, and so today I figured I guess, come here and kind of present my thoughts in an organized fashion. Here they are. Very few popular music artists are Canadian. Off the top of my head, I can think of Drake. There's The Weeknd, Shawn Mendes, and then apparently Celine Dion is also Canadian, but all of them are signed to American record labels. Canada hasn't really produced many popular actors either, has it? Like, who do we got? We got, like, Ryan Gosling, Ryan Reynolds, Seth Rogen, Keanu Reeves, Canadian, or at least he grew up in Canada and he moved to LA at like 17 or something. Who else do we got? That's kind of it. Well, I mean, The Rock was gonna play football for like a Canadian. Yeah, he was gonna play football in the CFL or something, I remember, but that never ended up happening. And he was from somewhere in the Midwest, so not really Canadian. Doesn't matter anyway, because all those Canadian actors ended up moving to the States. Like Ryan Reynolds lives in New York, Ryan Gosling lives in LA, Rock lives in LA. Most of them just kind of live in LA, so you know, and they work for Hollywood production companies, which are US based, so they're not really very Canadian anymore, are they? Well, what else does that leave? We got books. There's not very many popular Canadian authors. Like, who is there? We got, like, Margaret Atwood, Yann Martel, and that's kind of it. And, like, those guys, they only really got popular because they got TV shows or books. Like, Margaret Atwood has The Handmaid's Tale, which got made into an HBO show. And then Yann Martel got Life of Pi, which was made into a movie in, like, 2004 by Ang Lee. Although that one does sort of get points because the director was Taiwanese, most of the main actors were Indian, and a lot of it was filmed in kind of, I guess, the Middle East and the middle of the ocean, but ultimately the production company and distributing company were still American. I think they were both distributed by Fox, which is an American-based corporation, so again, it doesn't really count as a piece of Canadian media. Then we get to sports. Obviously, hockey is kind of always Canada's thing, but interestingly enough, the main hockey thing in North America is the NHL, which features mostly American teams, which are owned by American businessmen who train in America. Canada has like 4 teams or something, you can count them on one hand. Although, interestingly enough, most of the players in the NHL, more than 1,000 of them, are Canadian. So what's going on here? Why is so much Canadian talent going to the United States instead of remaining in Canada? Well, the answer is simple. There just aren't that many opportunities in Canada. It's the same reason that Canada has a baseball team and a basketball team in a United States league. Because the only way for Canadian media to succeed is in the US. So, why is this? Well, it's pretty simple. Canada doesn't really have a distinct cultural identity, first of all. Like, we got poutine, we got maple syrup, sure, but poutine and maple syrup aren't making movies, And Hollywood is. Then, as I mentioned, most of the production companies are American. Most of the CEOs are American. All the distribution, it's in America. The filming equipment, it's in America. And America's right there. It's just over the border. So if you're Canadian, why not just go to America and take your chances rather than trying to succeed in Canada where you have an incredibly slim chance? What does America get out of this? Well, obviously heaps and heaps and heaps of money. Look at Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Gosling, Jim Carrey. Combined, the box offices are worth billions of dollars, and this obviously benefits the US studio system. It benefits the government, it benefits everyone there, so why not welcome in this talent that's going to make you billions of dollars? Which is why Canada has almost no notable media exports. This is why there are very few popular Canadian media exports, and any artists or media that does identify as strictly Canadian is only popular within Canada. On top of this, Canada just really doesn't have any definite culture. We have poutine, we have maple syrup, we have mooses and mounties, but we don't really have a distinct artistic identity. We don't really have anything that makes us us. And this is because Canada is really metropolitan, because we're a melting pot, because Canada is basically just a colony. It's a place where a bunch of settlers came. Therefore, there's no one specific group of people that can create a distinctly Canadian look. Therefore, no matter what Canada does, its global media footprint is always going to be relatively small, because there's nothing that makes it Canada, Canada. Like, look at Japan, for example. They have an incredibly distinct culture because of the way that they are, because they're a singular island full of one kind of people. Then we have America, who are very much like Canada. They are a colony of Britain. They have a bunch of different cultures, but they still have a distinct identity. So why is this? This is because of capitalism. You see, America is built on business, and business means making as much profit as possible. Making as much profit as possible means selling stuff to everyone, including people overseas. This rapid expansion that America committed to in order to make more money meant that American culture ended up spreading overseas significantly more than the less capitalistic Canadian culture did. On top of this, due to the rapid need to make money, the Hollywood industrial complex was built, which slowly evolved into the machine it now is, pumping out movies every year. On top of that, American culture is very similar to Canadian culture due to the fact that we both originated from Britain. The only difference is that America was significantly better at spreading that culture due to the capitalistic nature of their society, as opposed to the less capitalistic and hence less widespread nature of Canadian culture. Anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later, YouTube.